The first thought going through your head right now is probably, what the heck is she doing here? And the second thought, what the heck is she wearing? Well, let's clear that up. I'm here to talk to you about suicide prevention, my life, and a movement that I have started. Some of you are like, ew, isn't she from the upper county? We hate Lincoln County High School. Yeah, I don't go there. I do online school. So you can't hold it against me on where I live. And your second question, what the heck am I wearing? Well, that's just me and my style. I actually want to elaborate on this a little bit more. Middle school, by far the worst years of my life. I know, I can't be the only one who feels like that. I was different. I showed up every day in a polo shirt and a belt buckle. I was different. This was used against me. The so-called popular kids made me feel about this high because I wasn't wearing some name brand shirt or skinny jeans. It was so hard for me. I had to choose, change who I am in the clothes that symbolize who I am, or take the insults and keep on being me. I stayed true to who I was, but it was so hard. I wondered, what if they had gotten to me? I know a lot of you don't know me, but I'm pretty successful in the barrel arena. I mean, I'm no Ram Hughes, and I haven't won 6 trucks, but I've had my fair share. I've won over $100,000 in the rodeo arena, 15 saddles, set 5 arena records, and placed at nationals at every year I went. So I wonder, if they had gotten to me, would I still have that success in rodeo, or would they have been able to change me completely? Today I don't have on a polo shirt or a belt buckle. I have on a pantsuit. It symbolizes who I've become as a businesswoman. Here's the irony in it all. I was made fun of every day in middle school for the clothes that I wore. I started my own clothing company. We've shipped to 31 different states so far, including New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee. I know there's a lot of you listening to me that are having a hard time right now because you're different. Maybe they say your clothes aren't cool enough, or you smell bad, or you're too tall, or you're too short, or you're too skinny, or you're too fat. You're different. But I want to be your hope. If I can channel that emotional heartache into something bigger and find success from it, anyone can. The reason I'm here talking to you is because I can relate to so many of you. Right now you're thinking, oh please, you show up here in a Ford Dually wearing a pantsuit? What could you possibly have in common with me? All right, where are my peeps with daddy issues? Eating disorders? The ones called weird for their sense of fashion. Have you ever been left with a broken heart? Or been a heartbreaker? Struggled with your weight? Are you a survivor of sexual assault? Do you know someone who's died by suicide, or at least attempted it? And last but not least, maybe the most personal question of all, who here has had those thoughts of taking their own lives? Now, this runs a little deeper than on the surface. I know at one point we've all probably said it at least once, right? You walk into science and forgot about that 100 question test today. You mutter under your breath, oh, I'm gonna kill myself. Maybe a lot of you don't mean it. But I've been to a few different conferences and listened to a few different podcasts where they talk about this. You might not mean it, but the fact that your subconscious brain says it shows that it's on your mind. And I really want to encourage you to find a different phrase in these situations. I got in the habit my freshman year of saying this. Oh man, I missed 2 questions on my math test. I'm gonna kill myself. That was so normalized for me and every one of my friends to say on a daily basis. And then one day, October 6th, 2018 to be exact, I was at a high school rodeo. And after the rodeo was over, I walked into my trailer and I grabbed my phone. And I'd gotten this text from my boyfriend at the time that said, Wylee, I don't know how else to say it, but he shot himself. I called my boyfriend and I was like, what are you talking about? My world started spinning and I was living in disbelief. He simply said, I'm sorry, what? He's gone. What I want all of you to know is I wish I wasn't here right now. Jersey's looking at me like, what the heck, Wylee? You know what I had to do to get you here? But that's the truth. I would give anything not to know about suicide, and to only know about it because of the movies. I wish that I was getting on the bus with my friend right now, and we were crying about our family lives and complaining about relationship issues, or simply playing tag. But he's not here anymore. And the reality is, he will never be here again besides in our heart and memories. So that's why I'm at this school talking to you guys right now. I don't want there to be an empty seat in your audience. And in my mind, that's why we need to bring awareness to this and show that it's an issue. Now, back to what I said earlier, I had plenty of issues in middle school, right? So when I finally made it to high school, I thought I had it made. I had escaped that place of so many of my problems. And for the first couple months, things were going really well. I had friends, I was on the basketball team, I was the class president, and then my life went downhill in a spiral. One of my best friends lost his life to suicide. My boyfriend broke up with me. I know, right? That sounds so dumb, but he was my first love. Little dramatic freshman Wylee was like, oh my gosh, could it get any worse? The answer is yes, it can, and it did. On a cold morning in September, I went out to feed my horses, and my horse, Rudy, couldn't walk. He was a horse that I could do anything on, right? Like I'd won the state on breakaway on him, won a bunch of money at big barrel races, tied goats, ran poles on him, everything. I mean, he was just so dependable and one that I could always count on. He had more personality than any horse that I'd ever been on. Well, that cold morning, he bucked while playing in his pen and shattered his leg. We had a vet come from Vegas and x-ray it, and she said it was done. We couldn't make him comfortable. The only option we had was to put him down. 4 days later, another one of my horses was acting weird. We gave him some medicine, and it seemed like it might have been working. Well, we went out the next day, and he would not eat or drink, and he was acting all loopy, and that night, he died. Crazy things just kept happening that were out of my control. My best friend was gone, 2 of my horses had died, my boyfriend broke up with me, and yes, ladies and gents, it could get worse. A couple months later, a guy accidentally shot one of my horses. Yeah, it was an accident. He didn't mean to. A month after that happened, another one of my horses got rushed to the vet. They said that she had rotten guts. Yeah, she had them for years. We just happened to buy her like that, and she just died when she was in our hands. That took me to a really low place in my life. 4 dead horses in 4 months. I hated horses and rodeo, and didn't want to let anything else into my life that would probably lead me to. Until I met a boy. Well, I guess he was a man. I was young and found someone who would listen to me talk. He would listen to me, and I could tell him about the darkness that I felt. He knew the low spot I was in, and he took advantage of that. He was so much older than me, and I was vulnerable, and didn't expect him to do what he did. I was left alone, and in the dark, and betrayed after that. I called my friend, and I told her what happened, and I told her that I needed her. She didn't believe me. So there I was again, alone, and in the dark, and betrayed. I couldn't tell anyone else about it, so I decided to build a wall, call me Trump, and not let anyone else in. My philosophy was simple. If you couldn't get to my heart, you couldn't leave me feeling alone and in the dark and betrayed. But this wall didn't save me from myself. I would have these episodes that I now describe as my pit. I truly don't want anyone to know what I mean by this. I hope you don't go through or feel how I felt when this happened. I go back to the place that I was then, the place and the things that happened with him. I go back to this state and my mind goes into this trance that I can't really describe. I'm overwhelmed with darkness, and whoever's in my path gets to see this because those weird feelings I get are usually taken out on them. Sometimes these will last hours or sometimes days, and then things will go back to semi-normal and I'll be okay again. These episodes were happening quite often and I didn't know what to do about it. I was hurt so bad in so many ways and internally scarred. At one point, it became too much, and I had the feeling that I had let everyone around me down. They were so disappointed in me, and that was the lowest point that I've ever been. Some things went down. And even though the intention was not to take my life, the hurt and the pain and the despair that I felt caused me to make a terrible decision. I'm so thankful that when the ambulance pulled away, I wasn't on it. When I woke up, I knew that I was here for a reason. And I've never been so thankful in my life, for my life, to have my life. I knew that my reason was to help others like me, the ones in the darkness, who can't ask for help. That was the day that I came up with the idea to help others and to spread hope. I knew I needed to help others see that there is so much light in living. So after that happened is when I came up with the idea to sell shirts and spread a positive message. So I started looking up all these different charities and places who help suicide survivors and to spread suicide awareness. And I found Save. I knew it was the one. So I had this awesome idea, right? Well, then I met another boy. This one was actually my age group. I warned him repeatedly that I had this wall set up and he was not getting in. I knew that if he couldn't get to my heart, he couldn't leave me feeling alone or in the dark or betrayed. But he was such a smooth little talker, right? He was like, I won't leave you and I'll never hurt you, yada yada. Some way he found his way in and he broke down my walls and he rebuilt them with trust. And he was so uplifting. And I was young and dumb and believed everything that he said. I mean, truly, it was ridiculous, right? Like I actually thought that we were gonna get married and go on our honeymoon in Dubai and own this elaborate house, you know, with a barn inside of it. And of course it would have a hangar on the top to park our plane. Like, we were gonna own a German Shepherd and drive around this Rolls Royce. Like, I kid you not, we had this built up dream life and I truly believed we were gonna live it. I know, life isn't a movie. In fact, it's a different shitty grade. This boy handled my episodes pretty well. He was forewarned about them and had an idea of what he was taking on. Everything that I just told you, to this day, he doesn't know. My private life and my past stayed private and in the past. He didn't understand why I went to my pit, but he did a pretty great job on trying to get me out. One day, I was actually up visiting him, and he tried to get me to get my nails done, because I've never had nails done, gel nails. I started crying. I couldn't believe someone wanted to take care of me like that, and I didn't think I deserved it. Right? For someone to think that I was that worthy and to hold me that high, oh, it was such a great feeling. But instead I started crying, and we didn't get my nails done. But then he felt bad that I was crying, so he took me home and made me this super fancy dinner and treated me like his queen. That was genuinely the happiest I've ever been in my life. Eventually, I had to leave the fairy tale and come back home. We were still doing okay. Then I was flipping through my yearbook one night and I saw a picture of my friend who lost his life to suicide. In this picture, he was just a little third grade boy. And that right there triggered an episode. I felt guilty for not doing more for suicide awareness like I had vowed to. I went to my dark place and things went downhill. It must have been a little too much for my boyfriend. I thought we were doing okay. I was out of my pit for like 3 days, and I finally started working on my shirts. I got the semicolon all figured out, and I started working on phrases for the back. I even reached out to a few news stations and told them my idea. So I was finally acting on this project that I wanted to make huge. And thought things with me and my boyfriend were going pretty good. Then, I got a phone call. Now this phone call is the most inspiring phone call that I have ever got in my life. This phone call is in part why I am successful and where I am today. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the simple phrase that changed my life? He called me. He said, "Are you busy?" I was like, "No, I'm good. What's up?" He was like, "Are you sure you're not busy?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." He said, "I don't have time for you. You're not my priority." Okay, the first thing going through my head was, ouch. But that really got me thinking, what are my priorities? How am I spending my time? Go, give it a minute. No, this picture is not from our breakup, but it was just too good not to use. But back to the point. You don't have time for me? Okay, great. How much time am I spending on you? This phone call changed my outlook on everything. What are my priorities? Well, at the time, it was this guy and rodeo. That's how I was spending my time. The next day, I got my priorities straight. I realized that I needed to act on my passion and make it my number one. Helping others see the light in living became my new focus, and inspiring others with my story is what I wanted to do. So I started emailing more news stations and magazines and radio stations from all over Nevada and Utah with my story and telling them about my plan to sell t-shirts. Sure, I was reaching out before, but I gained a lot more motivation after that breakup. Now, I look out in the audience and I see that I rodeo with some of you guys. And you know him. And I don't want this getting back to him in a negative way. Like, dude, she got up there and she was talking so much crap on you. I've never said one negative thing about him. The reason I mention him in my presentation is because he was such an instrumental part of my life and helping me to get started back up on my movement. This necklace I have on right now, he actually gave it to me. I know, right? All the girls are looking at me like, are you mental? Who wears a necklace their ex gave them? I think I just heard Wyatt mutter, thank God I didn't give her any jewelry. Nah, I'm just kidding. But a few years ago, I got in the habit of grabbing my necklace and squeezing it when I was stressed. But right now, getting in front of all of you kids my age, and Jake, are you like 20? Oh my God, it stresses me out. I'm so scared I'm gonna mess up, and you guys are all gonna judge me, and I start talking fast when I get nervous, and I worry you won't be able to understand me. So that's why I wear this necklace. because I get nervous and I grab it for a sense of security. And it's a reminder for me. I'm able to remember I am enough and I am a priority. It reminds me that maybe I'm up here to give at least one of you a sense of hope to keep going another day. I call it my priority necklace, and I wear it almost every day. It's a reminder of why I started my movement. Now, a lot of you are looking at me funny, not only because I just called Jake out, right? But I'm really bad at assuming everyone knows what I've been doing the past 2 months. Well, I've started a movement. What does that even mean? Well, to me, the word movement is so much more powerful than saying, well, I'm doing this project. The word movement portrays that you're going to be a part of something bigger if you join. Suicide awareness is something that I am so passionate about. I've been selling Why Stop Now shirts since the first week of August. $5 from every shirt sold will be donated to SAFE. Now these are the shirts that I'm selling. I'll dissect the meaning behind it all. In writing, a semicolon is used when an author could have ended a sentence, but chose not to. Well, I love that idea of you being the author and the sentence being your life. You are the author of your own story, and that's why we use the phrase, why stop now? The story is just getting started on the back. Instead of showing the darkness and suicide, I aim to promote the light and living. We're going to change pace a little here and talk about mindset. My new mindset has helped me succeed with not only my movement, but with everything I've been doing the past 2 months. For every negative, I look for 2 positives. Picture it. Last year, high school state finals. Everything that could go wrong, did. I mean, my cutting horse couldn't walk, my barrel horse rolled into a panel, my pull horse literally fell on top of me, and then he was hurt. I didn't feel too good myself. I had such a bad attitude about everything, and I thought the whole world was out to get me. Mr. Priority was still my boyfriend at the time, and that poor kid was holding my hand through a lot of mental breakdowns. But this year, my new mindset has helped me so much. At one of the rodeos this season, I just got done tying goats, right? Like, it was a great tie, and I look over at my horse, and he's standing there with his leg up. Like, we had a hard time getting him out of the arena. He couldn't walk. Instead of throwing a little hissy fit about it like I did at state, I looked for the positive. I had a spare horse who needed the experience at the rodeo, and he was there and ready to go. And that horse ended up working great. So I want to encourage you guys to adapt that mindset. 2 positives for every negative situation. So switching pace again and talking about visuals. I read a book one time where this highly successful guy, Boeson, hung up pictures of his heroes all over. So I took that and applied it to me. So now there are these 2 world-renowned fashion icons hanging up all over my house. I mean, they're on my walls, in my pantry, on my computer keyboard, and on my bathroom mirror. So every morning when I'm brushing my teeth, I can look up at them and see who I want to become. Okay, we're gonna get a little off topic here. They both happen to be gay men. One of my friends came over for Labor Day, stayed the night. He came in my room, it was like 2 in the morning, and man, did I get my butt chewed because he made eye contact with Calvin Klein getting out of the shower. But that's not my point. Back to the focus. I look at my phone so many times a day. Since the rest of you are teenagers or about to be teenagers, I'm assuming you're the same way. I've applied my need for visuals to my wallpaper. So every time I get a notification, I look at this visual. These pictures right here are why I stay. These faces, I see these faces, and they are the reason that I choose life every day. I want to challenge the rest of you to do this. Even if you don't want to make it your screensaver, at least make a collage. Instagram is a super easy way to do this. Set it up like you're gonna make a story, and you can easily make a collage. I actually want to challenge you guys to post your collage on your Instagram story at Wylee Mitchell and hashtag WhyIStay for a chance to win a Why Stop Now sweatshirt. Now, I don't want this to be discouraging. A lot of you are thinking, oh my gosh, why do I stay? I have nobody. Just know that you have me. I might not know you, but I want you to stay here. If you need that visual, put me on your screensaver. Yeah, your friends might say it's a little weird, but I want to be your hope. I want to end this. Yes, you guys can all listen in now, right? We're getting to closing. Everyone's all perked up, ready to go back to class. But I want to end this by saying anything is possible. And I'm proof of that. If the girl who got made fun of for their sense of fashion can start their own clothing company, why can't you? If the girl with the lisp can become a public speaker, you can do anything. I truly believe in that, and I believe in you. I'll be selling these shirts for $25 and sweatshirts for $40. Thank you for your time and for listening to me. Have a great rest of your day. Remember to encourage yourself, believe in yourself, and love yourself. Everyone's here for a reason, and your story is just getting started.